Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Lunch Therapy. All right, here we are once again. Still in lockdown. Still, it's Monday, but who knows? Who knows if it's Monday or not? Yesterday was Easter. Here we are on Monday. I'm not live streaming today because I looked at my internet speeds this morning and it was 1 kilobit per second upload. So that would be like, and I just couldn't do it to myself. Couldn't do it to you. So I'm recording this in a very calm way on a Monday morning. And we need a little extra, I think, because Mondays are hard, right? Even in lockdown, Mondays can be difficult. So we're going to take our breath. We're going to hold it. And we're going to let it out. One more time. Hold it. Let it out. I lied. We're going to do it a third time. I don't know about you guys, but that just makes me feel so much better. Sometimes we need to take care of ourselves, right? We need to take care of ourselves. That's why there is lunch therapy. Lunch therapy is a half an hour or so of relief where we talk about things that really just don't even matter. Because there's so much stuff out there that matters at this moment. And there's just a cacophony of chaos. So this is a place where we can just give our brain a rest. That's what I'm doing. I got a super cool shirt today. Seattle Supersonics. Great basketball team that got stolen away from us too soon. Anyway, they'll be back, I'm sure. Everything comes back around, Just when you think it's over, it's back. Just when you think there's never going to be another Bernadette. She'll be back. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a couple of things here that are just going to make us happy, I think. I don't know about you guys, but I really like when I'm kind of feeling down to watch a good newscaster clip. Newscaster fails, newscaster's gone wrong, newscaster's gone wild. First thing is this great thing. Apparently they found a cougar somewhere, and there was a cougar, and somebody had reported it, somebody had taken a picture of it. And so they had a newscast, a guy out there in the field to take a look at this cougar.
I'm Scott Mattis, live in Hernando, Mississippi, where there's been spottings of a cougar, and that's not it. That looks like a house cat, but we're just feet away from where a local man rolled his cell phone video on what some say is a cougar. I'll be right back with a live report.
Anyway, so that always cracks me up. Stuff like that. We talk a lot about when we're kids, things like that. And, we had a thing called the Myth Club, and it was a club that was an anti-click club. And we used to do things to make fun of people who took themselves seriously. But we would never do this, but this is hilarious.
Here's like an actual customer out here. What's the best kind of firework to buy?
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
Oh, no. That was terrible. Look at the poor weather boy's face. I mean, we would never do that. Never treat somebody in such a terrible way. But I think we got to watch it again.
Here's like an actual customer out here. What's the best kind of firework to buy?
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
I never had that kind of self-esteem or that kind of I'm better than you kind of feeling that kid exudes. Or like the ability to just sort of just on the fly just roast somebody like that. Most people are like, oh, I'm on TV. The kid, nope. Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy? I can't help think that maybe was set up. I don't know. I don't think it was. I think it was just a random moment. The things that Myth Club did were a lot more like this one here.
And since the snow started this morning at about 6:15 to 6:30, it has not let up at all. It is coming down pretty steadily here in Springfield. You can see that the visibility has been reduced. I've seen countless spin-outs.
Like a tree guy.
And
I love it when she just starts to lose it. She sees the guy. And
since the snow started this morning at about 6:15 to 6:30, it has not let up at all. It is coming down pretty steadily here in Springfield. You can see that the visibility has been reduced. I've seen countless spin-outs. And
what is that guy?
And
I don't know. And how did that happen? I love that. Anyway, hopefully you love that as much as I do. I feel better already. The breathing and a little bit of that tree man, a little bit of that wouldn't you like to know, weather boy, and I'm just ready to go because today is kind of a big day for me because as you know, if you've been watching the show at all, you know that Spectrum has been letting me down. And I've been trying to stream this show, and occasionally the gods of the internet smile on me. And other times, they just don't. And it's frustrating. But today is the Spectrum AT&T Internet Conglomeration Smackdown. Boney, I'm supposed to have music there. I don't know what happened. Boney, could you...
Well, wait, what?
Wow. No responsibility. He doesn't take any responsibility, Boney, for... You know, it's as if I didn't even tell him that I needed music for that thing. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about Boney. He's a good guy, but he complains a lot, and sometimes he doesn't. I'm not gonna burden you guys with my problems with my staff. But let's go back to the Spectrum Internet AT&T Conglomeration Smackdown. In one corner, we have Spectrum. We have Spectrum in this corner. And we have AT&T in this corner. And I can't say that I have had great experiences with either. They keep changing on me. They keep changing. It's like if you're trying to do something and they just keep changing. And I'm a computer guy, so I'm used to change. If you want to change your name from SBC Global to Spectrum if you want to change it from DirecTV to AT&T to whatever, I always roll with it. One thing that I've noticed when I teach people how to use their computers, they a lot of times are really fixed in this idea that nothing should change. Especially, I'd say people that are older than me. They didn't grow up with computers. They maybe were not used to things just changing. And I don't know if you've read any Ray Kurzweil, but he says that things kind of progress like this and like this and like this, and eventually they hockey stick. So the progression gets so intense that it's just become vertical. So the things are just changing right in front of you. And we seem to be getting to that place now, but there are a lot of people that are just got their feet dug in. Like I go and I worked freelance as a computer technician for a number of years, and I worked with a lot of different people, and you learn to kind of, do certain things for certain people. And one of the most difficult things for me was people that wanted a list. I would like they had a piece of paper by their computer, and they'd say, I'd like a list of the steps that I do in order to accomplish this task. And so I would make the list, or they'd write it down. But the problem is with computers, it just changes constantly. So they're like, my list is not working, and they get mad. They're like, what yeah. And they, the other thing is you have to kind of think in a sort of a circular way. You can't, a lot of times people are used to reading, and they start up in the left-hand corner and they just read across all the way down. So a lot of times these people would be, I'd be like, open up Safari or whatever, and they'd start reading from the top left-hand corner. Safari, and file, menu, scene, whatever, and you're just like, we're just never going to get there. So I don't know. I never really learned how to speak to these people, older people. I don't know if this is older person shaming or something. It's just a different way of thinking. It's a different way of thinking. So somebody's got to come up with a new way for people to change their way of thinking. I think that that's one of the difficulties of getting older, is that you kind of become kind of fixed in what you do and the way you do things, and you don't really want to change it. And there's like an update or something on your computer, or they change the name of a road, or they want to, I don't know, you go bald or something like that, and you're like, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is great, because the fact is everything changes and nothing stays the same, ever. And it's just never going to stay the same. You ever drive around, like if you've lived someplace long enough, I've lived in Los Angeles for quite a long time. And I drive, sometimes I'm amazed because I go to an area that I haven't been there for a while. And I look around and I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to that club that we used to go to when we were in our 20s? Remember that place? It doesn't exist now. It's like it's like a apartment building or something now. And you think, well, I remember having all these memories of this place, and when I think back to it now, I realize it doesn't exist anymore. I got this fortune. My wife Kamala, we have this little thing that gives you fortunes. Got it somebody gave it to us for Christmas, I think. And the fortune she got the other day was, have fun now before you disappear. It's pretty ominous. I mean, I think it's trying to say something sort of uplifting. But in this time, it was really freaking us out. Mine was, didn't mean anything, but hers, we were just like, wow, that's deep. But it's true. We got to have fun now before we disappear, because we're all going to disappear. Sometimes you got to break out the cool shirt. Sometimes you got to not worry so much. Sometimes you got to just kind of let go and just go, you know what? I'm just going to exist. A lot of times people, as they get older, they start to feel that way because they're like, screw it. Why did I worry so much about this life? I need to just be, right? Before you disappear.
And since the snow started this morning at about 6:15 to 6:30, it has not let up at all. It is coming down pretty steadily here in Springfield. You can see that the visibility has been reduced.
It's seen like the tree guy suddenly sees she's there. Like he doesn't even know that she's there. You know, like he's just walking around like maybe this is what the guy wears in
It is coming down pretty steadily here in Springfield. You can
weather.
see that the visibility has been reduced. I've seen countless spin outs.
Somebody talking to a camera.
And
the way they pan like that is just, yeah. So I guess the internet conglomeration Smackdown has got me a little bit concerned because I don't, you know, also the AT&T people, they have to come to my house, and I haven't had anybody come into my house. And so what I did is I took the room where my office where this internet's going to go, and I just quarantined the whole thing off and cleaned it up, and just going to have the people go in there and do the thing. Cause I don't, you know, I could have coronavirus. They could have coronavirus. Who knows? So I'm just going to have them do that thing in that room and then leave. And then I'm not going to go in there for a day. And then I'll go in there and just scrub it up. And then we'll see. I mean, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Is it going to be exactly the same? I know I have AT&T for my phone. And, you know, right now I've got one bar. So I don't know if it's going to help. So on Friday, we had an interview with Matt Wright, which was super fun. The lead singer, Gas Huffer. I invite you to look at it if you haven't looked at it. Old friend of mine, and it was really fun talking to people. I know a lot of you out there are probably reconnecting with people that you haven't connected with in a long time because we're all kind of stuck in our little boxes. But because we're in our little boxes, all of a sudden, location doesn't really matter, and that's kind of a beautiful thing. Is we're all locked down, but in being locked down, nobody can go over to anybody's house. So it doesn't matter if you're on the other side of the world. It's the same experience. You're going to be talking on Zoom. You're going to be hanging out on the phone or whatever, Skype. It's fun. It's kind of fun, that part. And so I got to talk to this old friend of mine that we hadn't talked to in a long time. And a lot of people, you know, jumped in, like old teachers of mine, old friends of mine from school. And I realized in that moment that there was an amazing conglomeration. I don't know how this happens, but, you know, how does something happen that there's a moment in time where there's a convergence of a lot of people with undiagnosed mental conditions in one place? But somehow it happened. I had a friend when I was growing up, and I love to call him and talk to him because, not that I ever do, because I don't call people because I'm phonophobic. I don't know if any of you are phonophobic, but I just hate being on the phone. I think it's because of that weird awkwardness because you can't see them. I think like I'm a really visual person, so when I'm talking on the phone, I can't see it. So if there's like silence, you're kind of like, what's happening? Are they mad? But they're probably not mad. They're probably like eating a banana or something. But you fill it in with like, oh my God, there's silence. Are they mad? Or like the worst thing is when it cuts out. When somebody asks you like a really, you know, they spend a whole bunch of time working up the courage to ask you for help, maybe. They're like, you know, I really would like it if you'd loan me $100. And then your phone cuts out. These are the things that I don't like. That's why I don't like talking on the phone. But Paul Barbano, I love talking to him because he can pinpoint things down to the day as to when they happen. You'd be like, hey, remember that time we had some chocolate ice cream? And he'll be like, oh yeah, that was the day after Memorial Day weekend because my parents were out of town. And then Ron was over, and then this, and he just goes through it like he's some kind of savant or something. And similarly, Jeff Lohman, who's been on the show many times, he has documented everything. So every once in a while, he'll send you an email that says, on this day 20 years ago, you were an idiot. And he types down, all the different things that you did that was kind of stupid. So that's kind of fun. I love doing that. I love that. It's kind of a storytelling kind of. That's the other thing. Matt Wright, when we had him on the show, we were kind of piecing together bits of our memory to see, what was real, what wasn't, what did other people see. So that's fun. Probably going to do more of that, I would think. Let's do more of that. Today I wanted to talk, this is just to remind you, this is a stand-up comedy show. And it's the premise is we take suggestions from the chat room. You give me suggestions, and then I just riff on them. And we see if there's any funny that comes out. Today there's no chat room, or at least no chat room that I can see, because the specter of spectrum has been, plaguing me again today. So I'm just going to, do a topic, babysitters. I mean, being a babysitter is, it's a tough thing, right? It's hard. But it's, I feel like it's one of those tests of young people to see if they got any responsibility, if they're taking any kind of responsibility, or if they could, if they're going to make it in the world. You either give them a paper route, or you let them babysit. I babysat once. I was probably too young to babysit. I was at a church retreat. There was a kid. My friend and I were supposed to watch him. And we worked with this kid, and, I learned a lot. I learned that kids can be mean. And it can hurt you, even if you're not their age. They can take a knife and put it right into your heart with no remorse. This kid, he looked at my friend and he said, "I like you." And then he looked at me and he said, "I don't like you." And because I was I was a pretty mature kid at this point, pretty mature little kid, I did the, right thing. I started crying immediately. I just started crying like a little baby. And the kid had no remorse on his face. None. He just, it was just, he had just stated a fact. I like you. I do not like you. I never had kids. Maybe because of that day, right? I was like, I don't think I want to be knifed on a daily basis like that with truth. And I knew that he was right too. You should like that guy, not me. I mean, then the parents at this religious retreat, they sent us on a snipe hunt. Do you know what a snipe hunt is? What is that? Why do they do that? So they took all the kids and they put them out in the woods. Me and my friend, they put us at the bottom of a hill in the woods in the dark night. And they gave me a bag and a flashlight, and they gave my friend 2 sticks to hit together, and they told us that these snipes are going to come down the hill, rushing down the hill all of a sudden, and we're going to be there with our bag and our sticks, and they're like, make sure that you hold the flashlight in the bag, because when the snipes come down, if they see the light, they'll run, and they hear that stick noise, they'll run right into the bag, and then you got to close it up real tight before they bite you. And we're like, okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember Jesus doing this, but this must be like a religious thing. So we did that, and we were out there for like an hour, just in the woods of Washington State, just in the mountains somewhere. I mean, like a bear could have come and just mauled us, or Bigfoot could have looked at us in that weird Bigfoot way. And eventually what happened is all the parents, men, just jumped out and scared the crap out of us. They just scared the crap out of us. Is that responsible? I don't think that's a very responsible thing to do. And what does that do? I don't know what's the purpose of that. But we're here to talk about babysitting. And I had babysitters. I used to love babysitters. I had to, beg my parents to get a babysitter, which probably was similar to saying, I like the babysitter, don't like you. It's no wonder my parents didn't start crying. But no, I just like the kind of fun change of it, There was you could tell when we were going to have a babysitter because there was a perfume in the air and a cologne in the air. My parents would get themselves all ready to go to wherever they were going, whatever party, whatever event they were going to. And, just that smell, the trigger of that was like, oh, we're going to have some fun tonight because we're going to have a babysitter. And to us, babysitter was, we learned a lot. Cheryl Polson, Pam Polson, Bill Zeal. These were my babysitters. Cheryl was an incredible storyteller, I'll tell you. When we were going to bed, she would tell us some bedtime stories. I remember one of them was called Carrie, and it was about a girl with some kind of superpowers that everybody made fun of her at school, and then they dumped a bucket of pig's blood on her, and then she locked all the doors with her mind and set everybody on fire. And then there was the tale of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is some man named Leatherface with a chainsaw that would cut everybody up. And I learned later that these were not just stories like The Little Prince or Green Eggs and Ham. These were actually horror films, because I guess that's what Cheryl was seeing, was horror films. So that was her storytelling. People Under the Stairs, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. No wonder I occasionally wet the bed. But, we get her back because one of the other things that I learned besides storytelling from Cheryl was I learned the art of blackmail. My brother and I found many, many ways to blackmail her because back then the strategy was just to see how long you could stay up. And if you could get the babysitter into a certain compromised position with using blackmail, you could stay up until the garage door opened. So what we would do is we'd tape record the babysitter. And when they would swear or say anything lewd, we would have a recording of it and we'd play it for them. And then they'd chase us around the house trying to get the recording back. And that was super fun. That was fun. And then we'd throw shoes at them, and then they'd throw cleats at us. And this was just a good time. These were times that were fun. One time, Cheryl or Pam or Bill Zeal, I don't remember which, threw a cleat and hit a vase and broke it. And that gave us a lot of clout for many days to come because, we bargained. We bargained to take the blame, essentially. So that was a fun time. I love babysitters. Kids are okay. I like kids too. Kids are fun. I still don't have any, just because of that time with that one kid and the babysitting experience. You know, I don't even know how parents even leave their kids with teenagers and have them. It seems like a crazy thing to do, right? I don't know how you do it. I think it's because you got to get away from these kids. And you just got to do anything you can to get somebody to watch them. So you're responsible. That's babysitters, okay? That's the little babysitter set that is apparently being worked on here on Lunch Therapy. And now I'm going to end the show with something that is going to help me, because I have to allow AT&T to come into my house and install this internet. And I'm a little stressed out about it. So I'm going to play a little bit of something that I found that I think is going to make you guys feel a little bit even better than the breathing, even better than the wouldn't you like to know weather boy, maybe even better than Bernadette. And it's this. It is. I put the website that the person's from. I put the person's name. There's a director that did this. You can find this video on Vimeo. I just wanted to share it with you. I think you'll enjoy it. I don't know where this is. This is like Iceland or something. And you know, these days they would do this maybe with a green screen or something. But you don't want to do that. It's clearly that piano is just sitting out there. It's cool. YouTube might ask me to take this down because, you know, it's got the music. They got like an algorithm or something, but yeah, I just want to share it with you. You can buy the album. And then there's a dancer too. Watch the rest of that. But I'm going to leave you with that. And happy Monday. And I will see you tomorrow at noon.